The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998. Live from the PWR studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this is the Pro Wrestling Report Post Show on Blog Talk Radio with your host, Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Post Show here live on Blog Talk Radio. We're talking about WWE No Way Out, which just went off the air on pay-per-view. Thank you for joining us wherever you are all over the world. We're joined by David Hero, co-host here of the Pro Wrestling Report. Opinionist of the Pro Wrestling Report. And we want to invite you to join the conversation all night long in the chat room right here on Blog Talk Radio. Hundreds of you right now in there discussing No Way Out. Also on Twitter, twitter.com/PWR Show. And David, what are you doing? You're tweeting while we're on the live show, and you can't even keep your phone far enough away from the microphone so we can't hear your little quack quack. Really?
I was adjusting the volume so I could hear you loud and clear.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure. Also on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, Facebook.com/PWR Show, Facebook.com/PWR Show, and right now on our Facebook page, you can go and vote, pass or fail, for WWE No Way Out tonight on pay-per-view. Again, that's pass or fail at our Facebook page, Facebook.com/PWR Show. Well, David, tonight's event headlined by the matchup between John Cena and The Big Show in a steel cage. In The Big Show's corner was John Laurinaitis, and watching John Laurinaitis was Vince McMahon. If John Cena lost, he would be fired. If The Big Show lost, John Laurinaitis would be fired. We knew going into this matchup that there were probably guaranteed shenanigans to occur, but I'm not sure anybody could have imagined the magnitude of shenanigans that actually occurred, causing John Cena to win this matchup, defeating The Big Show in a nail-biting finish where both men were escaping the cage at the same time. John Cena able to get out more quickly than The Big Show, while Brodus Clay, of all people, was holding back John Laurinaitis after several others got involved. This match told a true story. May not have liked it, and I think your tweet said something that you sent out a little while ago, said something to that effect. May not have liked it, but they really did create the end of the story of the bully that has been The Big Show.
Who would have thought that Brodus Clay would have been the guy to hold up The Big Show? You know,
right.
I mean, when Big Show had John Cena laying in the middle of the ring and the referee was knocked out, I was like, just leave the ring. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And of course he goes to leave the ring, and boom, there was Brodus Clay. And you know what? Very creative. I may not have liked the finish, but I liked how they told the story to get to how John Cena won. Even though it may not have been the right call, it's what they're doing. It's the direction they're going in. Boy, Johnny Ace. He's on the outs. He's gone. He's no longer.
What didn't you like about the finish?
Well, I really wanted Big Show to win. I wanted John Cena to be taken off TV for a little bit, freshen up his character a tad, let Johnny Ace, just be that guy. Let him be that power-hungry, obnoxious Johnny Ace that he can be, and let that go into SummerSlam, and let Johnny Ace, get fired at SummerSlam or at the 1000th Raw or something else. I just felt that for as much as time and money and effort and energy that they have put into the Big Johnny character, the No Way Out pay-per-view was the one that ended it for him. And it just, for me, it didn't make sense, but obviously I'm sure everything will make sense tomorrow night on Raw.
As we said, we are looking for your feedback here in the chat room on Blog Talk Radio and also on Twitter. We just did get a tweet from a Twitter user by the name of @YCCMcCrack saying, the end told a nice story, but more than half of these matches would be better suited for Raw. Feel bad for paying customers. You can agree or disagree with that statement. You can find that, of course, right now on our Twitter feed, @PWR Show. But that matchup, David, it was fun to watch. I mean, I didn't expect, when Brodus came out, I said, wow, all right. And then when Alex Riley came out, and I forget who he was with, actually, and I'm like, I'm sorry?
It was Santino.
That's with Santino. I'm like, you know what? Okay. This makes sense.
I was happy I got points out of Zack Ryder. That was great for me.
Yeah, that's about the only way you're going to get points out of Zack Ryder. But it made sense. And sometimes people talk about WWE and how things don't make sense. You can't bust a hole in this story. Everything that happened in that main event matchup tonight made all the sense in the world. But kudos definitely go out to the Giant, the Big Show, who took it to the skies tonight in that cage matchup several times. Very surprising, and we haven't seen the Big Show perform on that level in a very, very long time. Most notably, that missed elbow drop off the top rope to John Cena. It was spectacular.
It was, and the whole ring shook. It's like, you know, they didn't do a whole lot, but the stuff that they did do meant a ton. It was, and that goes, you know, for the entire show. There were a ton of big moves tonight. There was a lot of big, you know, big crushing moves and false finishes, and you know, there was a lot of wrestling on tonight. There were 3 matches added that were unadvertised.
Yeah, and we'll get to those. We'll get to those in a bit.
But you know, Cena and Big Show being the main event, being in the cage, John Cena working with, you know, a Giant that is limited at times. It was slow until all of a sudden you saw Brodus Clay out there with a chair, and then everything took a different twist to it, and a different feel, and you know, that's when it started to come together and make sense, and that's when you kind of knew that unless Brodus Clay was gonna, you know, turn on John Cena, that John Cena was gonna leave the victor of No Way Out.
And it seemed for a while that it would be the Big Show who would do so, especially given the fact of what happened when John Cena was attempting to leave via the cage door, and John Laurinaitis tries to stop that, and then Vince McMahon stops John Laurinaitis, but then John Laurinaitis shoves Vince McMahon into the cage door back onto the head of John Cena. That happening right before Brodus Clay and the rest of the, I guess, victims of the Big Show came out to ringside to get involved in the matchup.
One of the things we talked about at on Be the Booker when I picked Big Show to win, I picked Big Show simply because if he doesn't beat John Cena, then what does that say about Brodus Clay and the tag champs and the Santinos and the Zack Ryders, that they're meaningless? Well, when I saw all of them come out tonight to try to help John Cena, well, now they became irrelevant again, and they kind of gained some of their steam back.
That they did. And it's almost like it never happened in a lot of those cases, because especially Kofi Kingston, I mean, he kicked the Big Show off the top of the cage when the Big Show looked like he was just getting ready to take the victory in the matchup after just about knocking out everybody else who had come out before him through the cage with the weapon of mass destruction. Speaking of that big right hand, Scott Armstrong getting knocked out, John Cena getting knocked out, Big Show was launching Scud missiles all night long in that matchup.
You know, Big Show showed that he is a big-time player. And you know what? For all intents and purposes, he did beat John Cena tonight. If there was a referee in the ring, he would have got the 3 count. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. And now you got to wonder, where does Big Show go from here? Where does John Cena go from here? Because they're 2 months away now from SummerSlam, and they only have one match kind of on the board.
That match was announced, or at least the challenge for that matchup issued tonight. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But the question, as you said, David, that's hanging out there is, come tomorrow night on WWE Raw, how will the answer be given as to who is in charge of the festivities on Raw, as John Laurinaitis has lost his role as the general manager of both Raw and SmackDown. But at the same time, let's not forget who signed a certain star who is on his way back to WWE, at least to make an appearance at SummerSlam. One would think there could be some more shenanigans in store from Big Johnny, if you will. You can't only wear a suit like he wore tonight once. We got to see the blue version of his big pay-per-view event suits. We saw the white one at WrestleMania, the red one tonight. You got to imagine that there's a blue one to be shown at some point. We've talked about it. Now let's share with everybody what happened when Triple H did make his return to WWE television. He said that he would address the Brock Lesnar situation. He did address the Brock Lesnar situation, saying, He wants a fight with Brock Lesnar, and he wants that fight at SummerSlam. The challenge is out there. Will Brock Lesnar accept, David Hero?
Well, of course he's going to accept. Brock Lesnar, hey, he likes to fight, and what better, you know, and him to get Triple H in the ring? Why not? You already got John Cena, Triple H. You got to figure Rock and Taker are on the horizon as well. He's going to get big-time matches, big-time money with all the big-time stars, and Triple H is just next in line.
This matchup at SummerSlam between those two, as you said, a couple of months away, Triple H used the word fight several times tonight. Do you think it's going to be an actual wrestling match, or will it be something along the lines of what we saw at Extreme Rules between John Cena and the former UFC champion, Brock Lesnar?
You know, I'm not too sure. I don't think they want to keep going to the same well too many times. You know, it'll be a no-holds-barred match. It'll be a fight because that's what Brock Lesnar is. He's a fighter. He's an ass kicker. And Triple H is going to want to go toe-to-toe with that guy. And I think the match will be very entertaining. It'll be very good. Can Triple H maintain Brock Lesnar? Can he keep him in line as they tell that story throughout the entire match? That's going to be the interesting thing. And is Brock Lesnar going to want to do a job again to Triple H? Because you got to figure, you know, Triple H, he's the main guy in that company right now. Mm-hmm. Is he going to want to lay down for Brock Lesnar? Is Brock Lesnar going to want to lay down for Triple H? It's going to be very interesting. That right there is enough to headline the main event, SummerSlam, all by itself.
Also on the pay-per-view tonight was the Intercontinental Championship matchup between Christian and Cody Rhodes. This one, a wrestling match at its core, and both men delivered. Christian and Cody Rhodes, it's a matchup that you talked about, David, was likened to finishing school for Cody Rhodes. What did you think of that matchup tonight where Christian retained his Intercontinental Championship?
I thought it was very good. I thought it was another match with a ton of tremendous big finishes big finishing moves that resulted in a bunch of false finishes. And, you know, both guys did a fantastic job. They're evenly matched. They have very similar skill sets. You know, Christian is just fantastic. He can tell a great story. And Cody Rhodes kept up with them. And Cody Rhodes is getting better every month. Every Raw, every SmackDown, every pay-per-view, he picks up something else. And you know what? I can admit it. It's just a matter of time before Cody Rhodes is in the world title picture. But right now he has his hands full with Christian, and Christian looked pretty sharp tonight.
Christian going for the kill switch, actually nailing the kill switch, and then Cody Rhodes kicks out. I think there's a sign in there. However, Cody not able to catch his finisher, but he was the victim of a spear from Christian, thus causing the 1-2-3 and the loss for Cody Rhodes. And there's really only one thing to say to that. Congratulations, David.
What do you mean? I didn't get any points out of that.
You single-handedly ruined Cody Rhodes' career. You did. Career killer. You're like kryptonite.
I don't see how I killed his career.
Well, as soon as you picked him on your team for the Mighty Mouse Club in the draft, he lost the Intercontinental Championship, and now he's got no gold. So it's all your fault. That's fine. You know, he knows. He's aware, and one day you'll get your comeuppance, if you will.
That's a big word for you to use.
The World Heavyweight Championship was on the line in what ultimately ended up being a fantastic wrestling matchup between a constantly improving Sheamus and a very appreciated Dolph Ziggler in East Rutherford, New Jersey tonight at the No Way Out pay-per-view. Let's Go Ziggler was the chant that we heard several times throughout this very, very good opening matchup on the show. Dolph Ziggler would come up short in his efforts, though. Sheamus retains the World Heavyweight Championship. Excellent matchup. And I think in this match, in that environment, with the reaction from the crowd, Dolph Ziggler was not only seen as legitimate, but I think at this time, after this match tonight, at No Way Out, I think Ziggler has, as they would say, arrived.
Well, you know what? He's always arrived. He's always been one of the crowd favorites, one of their go-to guys. But, you know, once again, he comes up short. And, you know, it's not Dolph Ziggler's fault. Obviously, creative, you know, they just don't have it where they think he's the guy right now. But I think that matches like these, even though as good as they were, as good as Dolph Ziggler is, it hurts his stock because he doesn't win the big one. Even when he was the world champion, he had it for what? An hour when he beat Edge, and nobody was even sure if he beat Edge or not. It was all confusion and whatnot. Yeah. Dolph Ziggler, fantastic match. Him and Sheamus, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was a good, you know, Diesel versus Shawn Michaels match. There was a ton of motion. I thought Sheamus did a fantastic job. He kept up with the much quicker and faster paced Dolph Ziggler. But at the end of the day, it was still the big bro kick that almost took his head off, and he beat him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. Usually the heels will sometimes beat themselves. Doesn't happen with Dolph Ziggler.
Let's not forget what Sheamus tried to do at the onset of the matchup, which was go for that big brogue kick and end it early, almost like he did to Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Ziggler a bit too
was fantastic.
Ziggler a bit too smart for that. I understand what you mean when you say Ziggler had already arrived, but you almost need that moment, that match, where you get to your point of believability with Dolph Ziggler. The fans were firmly behind not only Sheamus, but Dolph Ziggler tonight, and I think that that's going to carry forward, all dependent upon what happens with Ziggler over the course of the next week on WWE television. But with how winded and beat down Sheamus looked in that matchup, I think that added credibility to Dolph Ziggler as well, because Sheamus, you don't see him in long matchups very often. Tonight, Dolph Ziggler took him further as far as match time goes than a lot of fans are used to seeing Sheamus, and I think that ultimately not hurts, but helps Dolph Ziggler. What I did notice about Ziggler tonight, in my opinion, he was not as animated and selling, bumping, if you will, as aggressively as he has in the past. The pace of the matchup seemed to be rather deliberately slower than usual from Ziggler, and I think that might be a little piece. Again, it's going to be all these little pieces that will add up and come together, where, I will use that term again, where Dolph Ziggler will be seen as having arrived.
They had to slow the pace down because they put in a bunch of time, you know. But Dolph Ziggler, yes, he has arrived. Yes, I think the crowd reaction he got tonight will not go unnoticed by the creative and office people that were there tonight in the building. But once again, my question to you is, how many matches, big matches, is Dolph Ziggler going to keep losing? And now, let's face it, he still has business to finish up with Jack Swagger, because he went over on Jack Swagger on SmackDown. Vicky made that very well known. So now does Ziggler and Swagger go into a little program? Because you got to figure ADR is coming back, and he's going to want his title shot at Sheamus next month.
Yeah, I think that's a certain. Well, I don't know. I mean, what I'm intrigued by are all the options they have with a superstar the likes of a Dolph Ziggler. And next month on pay-per-view, we know what event that is, David. It's one of the most exciting events of the year from WWE. It's Money in the Bank. And going into it, you've got the Dolph Zigglers of the world, you've got the Cody Rhodeses of the world, you've got the Alberto Del Rios of the world, you've got the Daniel Bryans of the world. If you step back and take a look, and maybe we'll do that next Wednesday on PWR Primetime Wednesday, step back and take a look at the potential participants in Money in the Bank. This is shaping up to be one of the most exciting potential Money in the Bank series of matches we've seen in a number of years, and that is a great thing.
Well, and considering how good last year's was, I mean, when we had ADR in Money in the Bank and Daniel Bryan Danielson last year in Chicago, it's going to be interesting to see how they can duplicate that success in Phoenix.
You're listening live to the post show here on Blog Talk Radio for WWE No Way Out, which was on pay-per-view tonight. John Cena defeats The Big Show in a steel cage matchup. John Laurinaitis is fired by Mr. McMahon after that matchup. Sheamus retains the World Heavyweight Championship, and Triple H challenges Brock Lesnar to a fight at SummerSlam, along with Christian retaining the Intercontinental Championship against Cody Rhodes. Much more happened on this pay-per-view, including an impromptu fatal four-way tag team matchup, the Divas Championship on the line, another unannounced matchup, two more unannounced matchups, and a tuxedo match. We're going to take a brief timeout, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about WWE No Way Out on pay-per-view tonight, and we'll be taking your phone calls in the phone zone. Many of you waiting on hold already. You can call us at 877-317-9772 to get in line to be a part of the post show here from the Pro Wrestling Report, speaking about WWE No Way Out. We'll be back in just a moment.
There's only one place to get the latest from pro wrestling, including the only place to get 100% verified wrestling news. Watch or listen to all of our latest TV and radio broadcasts on demand and get caught up on wrestling news between episodes. PWRshow.com is the cleanest, friendliest, and most fan-friendly source for wrestling news on the web.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the PWR Post Show on Blog Talk Radio. Damian Nelson along with David Hero talking about tonight's WWE No Way Out on pay-per-view. It was a show that overall deserves a grade, either passing or failing, and we want you to go ahead and grade it. Where you can do that is on our Facebook page, facebook.com/PWR Show. Again, that's facebook.com/PWR Show, where you can go vote. And while you're there, be sure to like our page on Facebook. Passing or failing grade for the overall event tonight, pay-per-view, No Way Out. Not whether or not you like the fact that John Cena won yet again, but overall your thoughts on the pay-per-view. And a lot of people, David Hero, making a comparison to last weekend's Slammiversary, and saying that, well, since they happen in the same month and they're both the most recent offerings from the two companies, definitely should be compared. That's a conversation that will expand beyond the time we have for this broadcast tonight, because we still have more matches to get to, including the matchup that was conducted with both participants in a tuxedo. It was Santino Marella versus Ricardo Rodriguez. Santino wins, and we find out that you and Ricardo apparently get the same custom underwear done with Alberto Del Rio on your ass.
Yeah, but mine are boxer briefs. I don't have the tidy whities.
But I didn't already know
that. That's the big difference. Well, see, but, I can share that with you. It's fine. It's all good. Hey, you know what? Ricardo Rodriguez, if you watch the match, you could tell he has some in-ring talent, because he was quite the bumper and the flipper and the flopper as he was getting tossed around by Santino. Okay. Don't know if there was really room for that match on the pay-per-view, but it didn't take up that much time. But the crowd loved Santino, and obviously they didn't mind the Cobra on the foot as well. And Santino with the victory over Ricardo Rodriguez.
Yeah, and this match I would say was just a simple comedy bit, which I don't have a problem with. It was fun. I mean, the crowd was chanting boring, but it was sort of old school. These are kinds of matchups you used to see, like managers or ring announcers or whatever it is in the past. I mean, Michael Cole and the broadcast team went over a lot of the matchups we've seen that were tuxedo matches in the past, but it was almost like a tribute when the pocket got ripped off. I remember Harvey Wippleman doing that to Howard Finkel, and that is what set up their I think it happened at WrestleMania 10, by the way. I think that's what set up their future matchup. But it was fun. It was what it was, and it came right after that matchup for the World Heavyweight Championship, so I understand its placement as it was between that and the Intercontinental Championship matchup. A match that we did not expect to see that we did get to see tonight was one that, not so much for what happened in the match, but for the amount of time it was given, showed a renewed effort by WWE in the category of tag team wrestling. It was a fatal four-way for the number one contender spot for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Epico and Primo Colon with AW going up against the team of Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd versus the primetime players of Titus O'Neil and Darren Young versus the Usos. It was a good match. It was given some time. And at the end of the matchup, it would be a W, causing Epico and Primo to lose to the primetime players, O'Neal and Young, who he would then align himself with. This was surprising. Not only the fact that, like I said, it was given so much time, but in what happened at the end and the amount of time they gave us to let it sink in. This was significant, I think, on this pay-per-view tonight, even though it was unannounced. I think it really plays into what WWE has realized they need to do and are seemingly doing as it pertains to tag team wrestling.
Interesting how, when you saw it was AW and La Rosa Mendez and Carlitos, as I like to call them, you figured they were the odds-on favorite to win that match. And wow, I tell you, it was almost reminiscent of when Mr. Fuji switched sides from Demolition to the Powers of Pain.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not comparing the 4 tag teams at all by any stretch of the imagination, but that was rather big, and it's the jump start they're going to need. And I will not be one bit surprised if the primetime players become the WWE Tag Team Champions anytime soon, because obviously the office likes these two guys. They like the potential they have. They have now put them with a manager. And it's just going to be a matter of time before the Carlitos and the primetime players get into a little bit of a program, but that will only come after Darren Young and Titus O'Neil become the tag team champions.
Next matchup at No Way Out tonight was, that we're going to talk about anyways, was another matchup unannounced, but one that you expected. It was the team of Delaney and Grimes, who also have some singing abilities apparently, going up against Ryberg.
Well, let me just tell you this. I did not think anyone could rival you in karaoke until those two guys started to sing all the wrong lyrics, all the wrong everything.
They don't know karaoke like I know karaoke.
No, they obviously don't. But I will say this. Ryback is on Team Super Friends, and I appreciate the points he is getting me every single month. They need to put him in the ring with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Because this, it was entertaining in the beginning, but it's the same moveset every match. And for the people that complained about Brodus Clay, they're now going to be complaining about Ryback. It's almost to the point where when you listen to Cole and Booker and Lawler call the match, it's almost like they're making fun of him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like, okay, what is really the purpose of Ryback? Is he going to be used, eventually, and why isn't he being used? I mean, they could put him in the ring with an Alex Riley. Obviously they don't care about Zack Ryder anymore. Let him go in the ring with Zack Ryder. There's other guys they can use instead of bringing all these indie guys in. And what they're doing is they're burying indie wrestling because they're saying these are the best indie wrestlers out there that are, that are available.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely not the case. So, for me, it just seems like there's a hidden agenda, some funny ha-ha, some kabuki-ness, a bunch of shenanigans, a whole bunch of nonsense involved in the whole Ryback storyline.
Next matchup was for the Divas Championship, one that I found to be a little too comedic for my liking. Layla retaining the title against Beth Phoenix.
Layla is one stunning woman. I just got to, it's like, wow. She is fantastic. She has come so far in the ring, it's ridiculous. Let's not forget, she used to be one of the, she's on the dance team for the Miami Heat. And she's a former, Diva Search winner. And look how far she's come. I think she's done a great job. And yes, you're only as good as the person you're in the ring with, but she really has been able to hold her own the past couple months. And I wasn't overly shocked that she beat Beth Phoenix tonight.
Final match on the card was the WWE Triple Threat Championship matchup. It was CM Punk defending against Kane and Daniel Bryan. Kane, in this matchup, David Hero, seemed to act as somewhat of a neutralizer until the end where he would become the key player in the match. And when AJ got involved, and it was AJ getting knocked off the ring apron as Kane was going for the tombstone piledriver on CM Punk. Distracts Kane. Up goes Kane into the go-to-sleep Punk gets the pinfall victory over Kane, while Daniel Bryan was nowhere else to be found, rather. And Punk retains the WWE Championship. AJ carried out by Kane. As she's being carried out, she shows the world that she is not really hurt, as she throws a wink at CM Punk.
You know, I tweeted out earlier that I was shockingly surprised how good this match was. And it was not a knock on Punk or Daniel Bryan or Kane. It's just that Kane has such a unique style as opposed to Punk and DBD that I wasn't too sure that he would be able to mesh with those two guys.
Yeah.
And you know what? He did. He stayed with both guys. He was there for pretty much everything. I couldn't tell if he missed any spots or not, but you know, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, you know what? Let's just say what it is. You don't think of Kane as a Hall of Famer, but his career has been pretty awesome. And for him to now change it up once again, and he's in a program with Punk and Daniel Bryan Danielson, two guys that have a much quicker pace than him, that are a completely different kind of wrestler. I can't think of a time when Kane has ever been in a program with someone like a Punk or a DBD. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The match was good. It was entertaining. I thought that all three guys worked very hard. And let's not forget that AJ was in the right place at exactly the right time tonight. And props to her, because I have seen plenty of matches where somebody is supposed to be involved and interfere or get in the middle of, or have some certain spot set up, and they completely miss it and or forget all about it. But she was right where she was supposed to be.
Yep.
And that's what made that finish so good tonight.
Absolutely, it did. It's almost like it was believable. It just made sense.
Very.
It's like, wow, okay, well, super. And how great has she been? And I think you sent out a tweet earlier at David Hero on Twitter about the number of times we saw AJ tonight, including her big makeout scene, I guess, with Kane in the back.
She had 4 segments on a pay-per-view.
Yep.
I can't think of the last time somebody that wasn't named Cena or McMahon got that many segments.
Yeah. Well, that was No Way Out on pay-per-view tonight. Overall, a pretty decent show because everything was directional, meaning I think everything was deliberate and they did something in just about every match. Whether you liked it or not is a different story, but they did do something. And while I consider the main event of Cena versus Big Show to have been a bit of a mess, it was an entertaining and sensible mess at the same time. Overall, I thought it was a good pay-per-view. I can't compare it to Slammiversary, but I will say this. WWE had a lot of wrestling tonight, including the opening matchup, including the three-way for the WWE Championship, including Christian and Cody Rhodes, but they had a lot of shenanigans as well. The whole Divas Championship matchup, the Tuxedo matchup, and obviously the main event. So that's what makes it sort of a mixed bag as opposed to Slammiversary. But overall, worth the money in my opinion, David.
You know what? It was worth the money. I thought it was a very good pay-per-view. The only thing that I thought was weird is it just all the false finishes tonight, which they haven't done in quite a while. So it seemed like they were definitely every match, all the talent, they had a purpose. They wanted the fans to be entertained. They wanted the fans to keep guessing, and that's exactly what they did. Because there were many times I thought, wow, this match is going to go this way, and then it went some way completely different.
Well, we have got just a few minutes left in the show. We're going to get to some of your phone calls. We want to remind you, as we definitely won't get to all of your phone calls, we're live again tomorrow night on the radio with Monday Night Meltdown, as we are each and every Monday night right here on Blog Talk Radio. So don't forget to follow the broadcast, follow the program, so that you never miss an episode of the Pro Wrestling Report right here on Blog Talk Radio. We're going to take a brief time out. When we come back, we're entering the phone zone.
Don't forget to follow PWR right here on Blog Talk Radio right now. Be reminded of upcoming episodes and never miss Blog Talk Radio's most popular sports show. Follow PWR now. There's only one place to get the latest from pro wrestling, including the only place to get 100% verified wrestling news. Watch or listen to all of our latest TV and radio broadcasts on demand and get caught up on wrestling news between episodes. PWRshow.com is the cleanest, friendliest, and most fan-friendly source for wrestling news on the web.
And welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report post-show of WWE No Way Out, here live on Blog Talk Radio. Damian Nelson along with David Hero, and it's time to hop into the phone zone. So pay close attention to those of you who have indicated that you'd like to speak to us. We want you to tell us your name and the city you're calling from once we indicate your area code and tell you you're live. At that point, please quickly go into your question or comment and allow us to answer it so we can move on to the next caller in an effort to get as many people as possible here on the air. So let's go to the person who's been on hold longest, who is calling us from the 205 area code. Caller from the 205. You're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report post show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Frankie, and I'm from Houston, Alabama.
Hey, Frankie, from Alabama, you said?
Yes, sir.
Tremendous. What do you have for us tonight?
Well, first of all, I love it. And,
thank you.
You're welcome. And I want to know, well, I was thinking AJ would align herself with Daniel Bryan and allow Daniel Bryan to pick up the win. But since that did not happen, do you think that Daniel Bryan will get a chance in the future to face Punk again for the WWE title?
It's a great question, Frankie, and thank you very much for your call. David Hero, I found it interesting that Kane was in this matchup, but Kane sort of needed to be in this matchup because now it almost feels like you got to go into either Money in the Bank or SummerSlam with another Punk-Bryan singles match, which we've not really gotten on a pay-per-view scale since we got it a couple of months ago. The fact that AJ is seemingly aligning herself with CM Punk will obviously give Daniel Bryan something to be a little upset about and keeps this whole story brewing and going. The best case scenario of the three she could have ended up with, CM Punk is the one that's most intriguing.
You know, but I don't think that they're aligned. I just think, she smiled back at him and he just laughed because he knows that she's crazy.
Well, from a story standpoint, whether they are or not, I think there's more intrigue and not what's going to happen with her and Kane.
But for her to be aligned, he has to be in on it.
So you're saying it takes two to tango?
Oh, sometimes it takes three. It all depends.
Wow.
But for sure, I just don't see it. I don't see Punk aligning himself with AJ. I can see him be there to be, the buddy, the pal, the whatever. But I just think that it is going to be AJ and Daniel Bryan because he was the guy that nobody saw at the end of the match.
Yep, he was almost like written off at the end of that matchup. Daniel Bryan was. Thank you very much for that call, Frankie from down in Alabama. Let's go to our next caller, who's calling us from the 210 area code. Caller from the 210. What's your name and where you're calling from?
This is Anthony from San Antonio, Texas.
Hello, Anthony.
How's it going tonight?
Tremendous.
I thought the pay-per-view was pretty good. I thought maybe the Triple H thing could have been on Raw, but again, Cody Rhodes shining like always at the end of the night.
As always, he was shining. He kind of got the kill switch twice, but they did a good job of promoting Triple H on the pay-per-view because people thought, well, if he's there, then Brock's going to be there. It was a great tease. It probably sold a few more buys or whatnot, but Cody, he's there. He's right where he's supposed to be. I don't see why you guys are blaming me for all this.
Really? Because I am a professional and a broadcast journalist, I will not repeat what you said about Cody Rhodes in this same format.
2 years ago.
It doesn't matter. When your party rips out things that the other party said 28 years ago and calls it, the way they think now, that makes it fair game. So you said it. And now it sticks with you all your life. You said those words that should never be said about a man who goes to the ring and risks his life each and every night. And then you picked him, and he lost his title.
Well, but he won it, but then he lost it again.
You're a career killer. Wait till Truth Martini gets his hands on. No, you won't even need to touch you this Saturday on Primetime when he is our very special in-studio guest. This is going to be fun. Have you picked up any? Have you been reading a lot lately, David?
Actually, I did. I've been reading a ton. Yeah.
Wow. Let's go to our next caller.
Yeah. Well, the new Us magazine came out over the weekend. There's a whole new story on Kim Kardashian. That was rather interesting.
How does it feel to get beat by Kanye West?
Oh, please. There's no way I was going to follow any of those guys that she's been with.
You know Kanye West doesn't like white people.
I've heard that. Yeah. But I'm khaki, so it's okay.
Let's go to our next caller who's calling us from the 504 area code.
Kim Kardashian does either, though, to be honest with you.
Caller from the 504 down in the New Orleans area. What's your name, and what do you have for us?
Hey, it's Brian from down here in New Orleans.
Hey there, Brian.
I gotta say, enjoyed most of the pay-per-view. I thought Dolph Ziggler and Sheamus absolutely stole the show, but I'm obviously not a big John Cena guy, but it's gotten to the point where with the main event, I just didn't care. I thought it was flat, and it just, I was watching in a place with about 100 people, and it was just, even the Cena fans were just screaming boring. It was just flat, and I didn't care anymore.
Wow, and I got to say, thanks for that call, Brian. I got to say the same thing. I had no interest in that matchup when it started, and I'm trying to watch it, trying to pay attention, and I'm just like, they did different stuff. It was sort of new stuff, because the way Big Show was talking to John Cena, I don't think we've seen that in the past, because you could hear what was going on in the ring. And let's not fail to give credit where it's due. The Big Show busted his ass tonight in that matchup. He stepped it up a whole nother notch to a whole different level, almost his earlier days back in WCW, and he deserves a ton of credit for that. But, yeah, you got to wonder what's next for John Cena coming out of this, if not the Big Show, again, going into Money in the Bank. One thing's for sure is you're not going to see John Cena in a Money in the Bank matchup, but he kept his job, so you got to expect he's still going to be a prominent part of the program, and it seems all those questions could be answered tomorrow night on WWE Raw. Let's go to our final caller of the evening, who's coming to us from the 443 area code. Caller from the 443 area code. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Shannon calling from Baltimore.
Hey, Shannon.
Hey, Shannon.
Hi.
We want primetime in Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, geez, now you have me all flustered. But
Sounds like.
Thank you for receiving my call. I enjoy you guys like a great deal. I'm actually honored that you took my call.
Thank you. No problem.
What I saw overall about the pay-per-view is it wasn't bad, but it wasn't excellent. And I guess that I'm looking through a filter of having seen another pay-per-view from TNA, and I guess that's probably not fair on the fault of the E. But my question to you is, and I guess it's a big question to me because I'm a big fan of Divas matches as well as the other matches, is what more can they possibly do to give the WWE an excuse to kind of downplay it any more than that match that we just had. It was kind of comic, and then they started to get into the wrestling bit, and I found that to be a bit disappointing because of the caliber of talent that was in the ring with Beth Phoenix and Layla.
Yeah. Great point, Shannon from out in Baltimore, and thank you very much for that call. Again, as I said earlier, David, I found this match to be a little more comedic than I expected it to be because we know Layla can bring it. We've seen her do it. And obviously we know Beth Phoenix can bring it. Did they miss an opportunity to focus on the athleticism and the ability of these two females in that matchup?
I don't think so. I think what they're trying to do is show the character and the personality of Layla and how she was trying to outdo Beth Phoenix. Because, let's face it, you can only do so much in a Divas and or a Knockouts match before it looks similar. How many times have we seen one of the girls, drop kick Beth Phoenix's leg?
Right.
It happens every match. So I give them credit for trying to do something different. I know a lot of the wrestling fans probably booed it, didn't care for it. I thought it was funny. I thought it showed a different side of Layla. She's being cute. She's being funny. Ha-ha. She was getting the best of Beth Phoenix. And you know what? It worked. Will they do it every month? Probably not. I hope not. But, hey, like I said, give them credit for trying something new.
Thank you for those comments, David. As many of you know, we have a couple things going on here on the Pro Wrestling Report, including last Saturday night's primetime episode on My 24 Milwaukee, where we did Be the Booker for No Way Out. And, David, I got to give credit where credit's due. You nailed the Tuxedo match with Santino winning it. You nailed the Divas match with Layla winning that. You nailed the Intercontinental Championship matchup because you ruined Cody Rhodes' career. The World Heavyweight Championship matchup, you did select Sheamus. You nailed that one. However, when it came to the WWE Championship and the cage match, things went a little differently than you expected in those matchups. Given that, are you still satisfied with the outcome, knowing that it wasn't Daniel Bryan and the Big Show winning those matchups?
Absolutely. Why am I happy? Because CM Punk got points for retaining his title. That's fine. And John Cena got me points for being the Big Show. See, I was trying to be like the unselfish lover and let other people, get some love and some points and victories. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to take care of yourself.
The final point spread tonight. The Super Friends, the Mighty Mouse Club,
which
picks up
I want to recount. There is no way that we are only 10 points different. You made a mistake somewhere. There's no way. It's impossible.
How dare you be in such denial? What is that? The first step, or is that step 0? Because I'll fund your wellness policy, your rehab program, to fix your denial. 175 points to 165 points for the Nelson family. I am so happy with all the points I got for Layla, who replaced Chris Jericho.
What?
Layla, she's on the Nelson family.
You picked up Layla? You are such a conniving kabuki. That is crazy. You didn't announce that at the time.
What did you announce? You never asked me.
So you just pick up Layla after she, after she wins?
Right? There's one card that stays flipped over until it's time to get the point. I kept that card flipped over.
You are a filthy cheater. My God. Okay, that's fine. I get it.
Overwhelmingly so, you said that No Way Out was a pass on our Facebook page, facebook.com/PWR show. Looks like about 75% of you saying that it was a pass. About 25% of you voting it as a fail. So, you, the fans, have spoken, and we want to invite all of you to join us tomorrow night on Monday Night Meltdown for the Pro Wrestling Report. What's wrong with you?
Because there's some weird stuff going on in your calculator, man. That's just funny. It makes me laugh. Who'd you pick up for Randy Orton?
Do you want the details? Who did I pick up for Randy Orton? All right, let me tell you right now. On my team, I still got The Miz. I still got Brock Lesnar. I could replace either one of them if I wanted to, but no, I'm going to play nice, and I'm going to keep them because WWE hasn't officially announced anything as it pertains to them.
Right.
Replacing Randy Orton was Christian. Remember I did that Slammiversary stuff? I didn't take any points for David Otunga. I didn't take any points for Brodus Clay in the pre-show because
but you got points for Brodus Clay in the main event.
5 points. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
You got points for CM Punk, John Cena, Sheamus, Ryback, Cody Rhodes, Kane, and Zack Ryder. I got points for Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Brodus Clay, Big Show, Santino, Christian, and Layla. The proof is in the pudding. What are you going to do? Take this to the Supreme Court, Al?
No. Of course not. Of course not. That's not my style. I'll just have somebody whack you in the knees later on tonight.
Whoa, that's a threat on a nationally broadcast radio show. That will hold up.
I didn't threaten you. I said it was going to happen.
David, it's Father's Day. Can't we just get along? I mean,
speaking of that, God bless. Amazing, right? Rodney King, God bless his soul.
Want to thank all of you for tuning in here to the post show for WWE No Way Out. For David Harrell, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow night right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Damian, is that a knock on your door?
For Monday Night Meltdown. Goodbye.
Don't forget to follow PWR right here on Blog Talk Radio right now. Be reminded of upcoming episodes and never miss Blog Talk Radio's most popular sports show. Follow PWR now.